Story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there and welcome to CoreTV News on the hour with me, Sabina Izuku. Following the protracted violence rocking Ekiti State during the week and the killing of the former National Union Road Transport Worker boss in the state, Omolafe Aderi, Thursday night, the government had imposed a dusk to dawn curfew in the state. This was announced by the Governor Kayode Fayemi in the state while broadcasting Ado Ekiti, the state capital. Rashid has the details. Following the murder of...
The atmosphere in Ekiti State is tense as a result of the recent crisis rocking the state. Youth alleged to be political thugs have invaded courts twice and destroyed court property and obstructed proceedings. A former boss of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Omolafe Aderi, was also killed. He is believed to be a close associate of a top politician in the state. Addressing the state in a broadcast, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi condemned the attack on the judiciary and directed the Attorney General to liaise with the State Chief Judge of the possibility of transferring all cases out of the state.
It is understandable that not a few stakeholders have expressed concern about what the development portends for Ekiti State. The brazen contempt of our hallowed law courts and the use of violence and intimidation to obstruct the course of justice is a clear invitation to anarchy and brigandage on the scale and texture that once characterized Ekiti State some years ago. Ekiti, are those years upon us again?
He further cautioned politicians to control their followers and supporters so as to avoid chaos.
The course of justice can only be delayed, but never truncated. The independence of the judiciary is an invaluable tenet of any democracy. Accordingly, I have this morning directed the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in the state to issue a legal advisory to the Chief Judge of the state and all the parties to the existing cases in the State High Court and the Ekiti State Governorship Elections Petitions Tribunal on the desirability of seeking an alternative venue for the hearing of these cases outside Ekiti State. The state can no longer afford to witness the bizarre spectacle of the beating up of a judicial officer and wanton intimidation of lawyers and court personnel.
The governor thus imposed a dusk to dawn curfew on the state.
Ekiti, in order to forestall further descent into anarchy in our state, I think all hands must now be on deck. And as the Chief Security Officer of the state, I have suspended my thank you tour, which I'm undertaking as part of my transitioning out formalities in the state. Also, I have taken the decision to institute a dusk to dawn curfew in the state immediately. Accordingly, there will be no movement between the hours of 7 p.m. and 7 a.m., and security agencies have been advised to effect this curfew maximally.
The rise in violence is coming just days before the transfer of power to the next government in the state. It is hoped that a curfew will help curb the violence. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
Following the murder of Omolafe Aderi, an ex-boss of the Ekiti State branch of the National Union of Road Transport Workers and a close ally of the governor-elect, Ayo Fayose, Thursday night, the city of Ado Ekiti was a shadow of itself for the better part of Friday, as well as public and private institutions were shut down, leaving business activities paralyzed. The reason for this was the fear of attacks which actually took place before the intervention of security agencies. Rashid went round town to assess the level of damage and the police resolved to bring the perpetrators to book. his report.
Since the death of Omalafia Aderiye filtered into town late Thursday, fear of the unknown has gripped residents of Ado-Ekiti as all government and corporate institutions shut down for business. Commercial activities were also paralyzed for the day. The fear of the people against possible attack on lives and property made most of them stay indoor. A drive round Ado Metropolis reveals serious damages to property, among them the campaign headquarters of Governor Kayode Fayemi and that of the APC. Joseph Olabiwonu, leader of the Road Transport Employers and perceived staunch supporter of Fayemi, was not spared in the arson that saw his house and fleet of cars razed. An easy calm best describes the mood at the home of the deceased as tears flow freely from sympathizers and relatives. In all, property worth millions of nairas have been lost to the attacks which turned Ado-Ekiti into a ghost town, but for the intervention of security agents, the situation could have been worse. The Commissioner of Police, Taiwo Lakan, vows to bring the killers of Aderiye and those who took part in the destruction of property to book as he backs the governor's declaration of curfew.
The curfew is extremely necessary. It will lessen our burden. We've been out since morning. And of course, the curfew means you are supposed to stay in your houses, your individual houses. If you are found on the street, you have to say to blame. We've made a sizable number of arrests because some people were actually caught right on the scene, burning houses. Some were seen, trying to picket roads. Some were seen burning tires. We have ample facts against them, and investigation is ongoing.
The last may not have been heard on the gruesome development, even as the dusk to dawn curfew takes effect and normalcy returns to the streets. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
In a related issue, the People's Democratic Party in Ekiti State has condemned the murder of a former chairman of the state chapter of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Omalafia Aderiye, by unknown gunmen. The State Publicity Secretary of the party, Kola Oluwawole, in a statement in Ado-Ekiti, described the killing as an act of wickedness, barbaric and satanic. According to him, the murder could not be separated from the clandestine activities of the All Progressive Congress government, which had vowed to make the state ungovernable for the incoming administration of the PDP. The party called on the Inspector General of Police and all relevant security agencies to bring to book the perpetrators of this act, so that those who want to create a chaotic situation that will negatively affect the swearing-in of the governor-elect will not have their way. It also implored the state commissioners of police to provide adequate security for the governor-elect and all the People's Democratic Party leaders who it's claimed have been marked for elimination. Meanwhile, reactions have started to trail the development in Ekiti State, where the state government has imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew to checkmate incurring violence by hoodlums. A guest analyst on a flagship program called Digest, Likon Alabi, in his contributions, lambasted the police for turning a blind eye to the issue. Alabi, who is a Lagos-based lawyer, warns that the role played by the organization, like the police, which is saddled with the enforcement of order, could spell doom, especially in an election year, if not checked.
Carrying coaches, how many people have they arrested? Which means they are partisan. Which means there are some people that are above the law. Which means that these youth are being responded to stimuli. That some people are pulling them somewhere that nobody can arrest you. Which means that we have a partisan security apparatus. Which means that because a sitting governor maybe is a member of opposition party, that's the reason why that the police have not been able to do their job. That what they are just going to do is to make sure that the judges are safe, and we just accord them to enter their vehicles, and to, after judges, then the lawyers will now be accorded some courtesy and walk them to their vehicle. If judges are seeing this kind of thing, are we sure that the judge is going to decide the case according to the evidence before them and according to the law of the land? The court has been intimidated, and no single, we see it in the scene. Nobody has been arrested, and we see them carrying coaches. We are seeing them carry cordials, intimidating both judges and the lawyers. They are not witnesses, and the matter is not ripe for hearing.
The Federal High Court will on September 30th entertain the arguments on the suit filed by the former Deputy Governor of Adamawa State, Bala Ingilari, to nullify his purported resignation. The former Deputy Governor wants the court to stop the October 11 by-elections in Adamawa State and order his reinstatement. Presiding Judge Justice Adeniyi Ademola is to hear all the applications and the substantive matter on the same day to ensure speedy dispensation of the case.
It's just that the court has adjourned the matter to Tuesday for hearing of all applications together with the substantive matter. And that's what we are coming to do on Tuesday before the court. So that the court will determine once and for all whether the deputy governor or the former deputy governor of Adamawa State, Barrister Ingilari, actually resigned or not. Because we are saying he did not resign as required by the Constitution. And after the impeachment of Nyako, or the purported impeachment, he should have been sworn in as the governor of Adamawa State. So we are seeking to stop the elections on October 11. That's what we are seeking to do.
What about on the issue?
We are saying there's no vacancy in Adamawa State. There's no vacancy.
On the issue of jurisdiction?
That's what the court wants to take together with the substantive matter. So if the court decides in our favor, then there will be no elections in Adamawa State. If the court decides in their favor, the elections will go on.
The Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Adeyemi Ikufuruji, has described the dismissal of the 54-count charge of money laundering against him by the Federal High Court as a victory for democracy and justice. Ikufuruji, who was overjoyed by the development, promised to rekindle his commitment in the service to Lagos and the country.
This victory is not mine alone. It is our collective victory. It is a victory for democracy, a victory for the judiciary, a victory for the Lagos State House of Assembly, a victory for the Lagos State government. We are being vindicated. It is a victory for every journalist who stood on the side of the truth, even when they were being bombarded with lies. It is a victory for our party, the APC, and everyone who has stood solidly by me in the last 3 years. My very dear friends and colleagues, the struggle goes on. Our work is not done. While we savor this victory, we must remember that we still have a lot of work to do. This victory is a call to action. As the 2015 general election approaches, we must rally round to ensure victory for our party at all levels. Our politics should not divide us.
Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is to appeal against Justice Ibrahim Buba's decision to discharge and acquit the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Adeniyi Ikufuruji, and his aide, Oyebode Atoyibi. The judge had ruled that the prosecution failed to prove his case against the accused persons, but the dissatisfied EFCC says the judge erred in his ruling. It insists in a statement issued in Abuja that the proof of evidence attached to the charge clearly showed that the duo violated provisions of the Money Laundering Act in receiving various cash payments from the assembly amounting to about 338.8 million naira. The EFCC maintained that it will explore the options of appeal to bring the accused persons to justice. We'll take a short break, and when we return, CoreTV News on the Hour continues. Stay with us.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Welcome back to the news. A youth group in northern Nigeria, the Arawa youth leaders, have resolved to back former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's quest to pick the presidential ticket of the All Progressive Congress. The youth leaders said they opt for Atiku Abubakar based on his experience, integrity and liberal disposition. The group also said in a communique issued after a meeting in Kaduna State that the former vice president also stood out in the IEPC as a pure civilian with democratic credentials. It cited the role played by Atiku in leading the opposition against the third-term bid of former President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2007. The youth took a swipe at the People's Democratic Party for shutting the door on what they described as a credible alternative by endorsing the incumbent president for re-election. After months of consultation, former acting National Vice Chairman Southwest of the People's Democratic Party, Adedeji Doherty, has again declared interest in the Lagos 2015 governorship election. The declaration makes it his third attempt at the seat. Olajumoke Olatunji has the report.
The rank of governorship aspirants on the platform of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos has increased by one. A former acting National Vice Chairman Southwest of the People's Democratic Party, Adedeji Doherty, again confirmed his readiness to contest for the exalted seat.
I'm here to declare my intention to run for the exalted seat, the seat of the governor of Lagos State on the platform of the People's Democratic Party.
The party already boasts of other aspirants including Adedosumu, Jimmy Agbaje, Adetokunbo Purse, Babatunde Gbadamosi, Dominic Adegbola, Taiwo Kuye, Owolabi Salis and the Minister of State for Defense, Musiliu Obanikoro. What exactly is standing him out of the park?
Our 10-point agenda: the empowerment of women, empowerment of youth, good transport, quality, free education. We have power, we have revisitation of our tax law to create a more vibrant economic Lagos State.
The PDP in Lagos is already fancying its chances of producing a replacement for incumbent Governor Babatunde Fashola. The party, and particularly Doherty, has vowed to wrest power from the ruling All Progressives Congress in the state. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Chibok community has commenced moves to identify the girl Susan Shaya, who was abandoned by the Boko Haram and found wandering in Mubi on Wednesday. The chairman, Kibako Development Association, Buju Bitrus, said he had directed the vice president, Government Secondary School, Chibok, to go to Yola, Adamawa State and ask the girl about her origin and other issues surrounding her identity. Susan was discovered near a police station in Mubi, Adamawa State, after she was brought there by villagers who found her near Bui in Borno State. She was said to have been thrown out of a moving vehicle by her captors and was left to wander for 2 days before she was discovered by the villagers. Susan was said to be traumatized and sexually abused by the insurgents and was also found to be 4 months pregnant. The girl, who is being treated in a hospital in Yola, Adamawa State, was said to have been psychologically abused and could not properly identify herself and her origin. Bitrus said that there are doubts over the identity and origin of the girl, adding that the community was not convinced that she was from Chibok, as her name did not correspond with the names of the 219 schoolgirls. A federal high court in Abuja has set November 10th for the arraignment of Aminu Oguche, the alleged mastermind of the April 14 Yanyan bomb blast. This was after the initial plan to duck him and other suspects on Friday was stalled by a disagreement between the police and the Department of the State Service. Presiding Judge Ademola Adeniyi explained that the long interval is to enable the two security agencies align their positions as well as conclude interrogation.
Well, this is a matter of national security that need not to be publicized.
It's in the court. It's in the public. The court is a public place.
Yes, even in the courts, certain procedures have to be followed because of national security.
So what procedure would have to be followed for the accused to be brought before the court?
The accused will be brought on the next adjourned date.
Why was he not brought to me?
I've already told the court why the accused is not in court. On the next adjourned date, the accused will be in court.
We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll take you outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. And Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. Hundreds of people gathered in Paris on Friday in answering a call by Muslim leaders to denounce the barbarism of Islamic State militants as flags across France flew at half-mast after the beheading of a French national. Imams and ordinary Muslims have rallied to condemn the execution of a 55-year-old mountaineer, Hervé Goudel, this week by militants in Algeria with ties to the Islamic State jihadists as the country mourns the brutal murder. Leading Muslim figures also signed a message published in French newspapers Friday condemning the atrocities committed in the name of a murderous ideology hiding behind the Islamic. Demonstration came as flags nationwide flew at half-mast to mourn Goudel. The mountaineers was kidnapped on Sunday by Algerian group John R. Khalifa shortly after a chilling call by the Islamic State militants for Muslims to kill citizens from countries involved in a US-led coalition fighting the extremists. The threat sparked concerns in France, and authorities have since strengthened securities in public places and on transport. To join me at the top of the hour for more, I am Sabena Izuku. Thank you very much indeed for watching.